happening here? Something's going weird. It says I'm live stream, but it's not coming up as an option. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, we're off by about 7 seconds. Whatever. Why don't I have a feeling in my finger? Whatever. So tired of listening to FNAF.
Maybe on April 6, 2025, if the 4625 code from the new Up Wanted ending is anything to go by. But in the meantime, remember, that's just a game theory. Thanks for watching. World premiere on Game Theory. I have found Frank. After this long visit to this deadly trampoline, this show wasn't made to make money or to entertain viewers as they watch people meet their gruesome ends. It was made far more personal. And we fell for it.
Montreal's new vibe awakens something within you.
There we go. That almost looks like a circle. See how she looks. Burned the whole thing. Yeah, Marielle.
Your first in a new country are unforgettable. First time feeling the snow. First night in your new home. With Scotiabank's Start Right program, I had support every step of the way. Your faves for less.
All right.
Now starting at $99. Dips for less. Drips for less. Legends for less. Meals now starting at $9.99.
Giant squishmallow later.
Every day.
Stuff the body.
FNAF's main villain has been keeping a secret from us since the beginning, and none of us caught it. Now Scott has released Into the Pit for a third time to try and get us to realise that while we were all looking at Afton and the Mimic, there was another lurking in the shadows that explains everything.
I hate this stuffing, but it's free and it's clean.
Revisits FNAF lore about as much as Scott does. Yeah, if you haven't already heard, we've gotten the second main entry in Scott's interactive novel trilogy. It's called Return to the Pit, and if you're a fan of FNAF, that name will absolutely ring a bell. In 2019, we had the first ever Fazbear Fright story called Into the Pit. Then last year, we had Into the Pit, the game. And now Scott is returning to what is clearly his favourite story in the franchise for a third time. But do you want to know what's more infuriating than Scott telling us the same story over and over again? Scott changing that story just slightly each time. For both the original story and the game, the missing children's incident was shown to involve 6 kids, rather than the typical 5 that we've been told about in the games, which in and of itself caused lots of disagreements within the fanbase. But now in this new book, do you want to guess how many kids there are? It's been changed back to 5. Is this to line it up more with the games? Does that mean that this version is canon, but the original Fazbear Fright isn't? Scott, my guy, I literally spent an entire episode talking about how it would be nice if the books were canon, and then you go and pull this on me? I mean, I'm thankful you didn't change it to something crazy like 7, but seriously? That being said, this version of the story being more likely canon than the other versions does allow for some interesting theorizing. Something I didn't talk about in our week before theory was how a choose-your-own adventure can work in terms of canonicity. With each of these stories, while there are multiple endings, there is only one canon ending. However, that doesn't mean that the other endings can't be used to help solve the lore. In the week before, we know that phone guy Ralph has to die on night before. But that doesn't mean that an item he finds in a drawer in a non-canon room can't be used as evidence. The item still exists in that drawer in the world. It is canonically there. It's just that canonically, Ralph never discovers it. Return to the Pit is working on that same principle. The canon ending is Oswald defeats the Yellow Rabbit and saves his dad, like he does in the original story. But there are a number of alternate paths that don't go that way that we can still learn from. Remember, this is the third time we are going through this story. Clearly, there is something that we've been missing that Scott is trying to draw our attention to. And while I was reading one of the alternate endings, something hit me around the face like a yellow rabbit in 1985. This one ending doesn't just add another log to the is it canon fire. It set off a chain of dominoes that completely changed my outlook on the franchise. It seems crazy, but if you'll stick with me, I promise you'll realize just as I did how this book affects the timeline, Fazbear's
Oh, I just thought I saw Ghetto out of the corner of my eye.
Yet most important villains in this franchise.
That hurt.
I'm not talking about Afton, and it's not the Mimic. Get your
Really
upgrade
hasn't.
tokens ready, theorists.
Little Miss Gray hasn't been over in a few weeks either. She'd be a nice distraction for a few hours.
Too into the details. In case you somehow missed the last 5 years of this story existing,
I did.
It is about a kid named Oswald. During his summer break, his dad drops him off at a local pizzeria called Jeff's Pizza. While there, he discovers a ball pit that has strange powers. It can take him back in time to 1985. Back then, it wasn't Jeff's Pizza, but Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. There, he finds a golden rabbit mascot that lures him into a back room and reveals to him a lineup of dead children. Oswald runs to the ball pit to escape and finds his dad on the other side, with the yellow rabbit follows him, pulling his dad into the pit and taking his place in Oswald's life, driving it home, sitting at his dining table, and sleeping in his bed. Oswald has to break out of his own house and return to the pit in order to find his dad. He manages to trap the yellow rabbit and put an end to it. Now, in the original Fazbear Fright, it was unclear what exactly was going on with this ball pit. Was it really using time travel? Or was it Oswald seeing agony-induced memories of the other victims that died in the ball pit? Agony being a powerful negative emotion that works kind of like Remnant, but not really. Listen, don't worry about it. It's really not that important because in this new telling of the story, as well as the game from last year, we're being shown that this ball pit is using physical time travel. In the game, Oswald is able to take objects from the future into the past and vice versa. And in return to the pit, Oswald meets a grown-up Chip, one of the kids he met in 1985, and Chip remembers him. So these details seem to be showing us that it really is a time-traveling ball pit. And if that's the case, then there are a few other details that really begin to matter. Suddenly, anything Oswald witnesses in 1985 are real things present in 1985, even if they aren't the canonical route. And with that in mind, the alternative paths becomes very interesting. In 1985, Oswald has the option to leave Freddy's. Once he steps outside, he hears a voice calling for help. If we follow the voice, Oswald is led to a basement around the back of Freddy's. He makes his way down the stairs and is swiftly bonked over the head by the yellow rabbit. As he lies on the floor in a pool of his own blood, beginning to lose consciousness, he hears the voice laughing at him. Now, you may be wondering why this particular ending stood out to me. Yeah, it's a bit creepy, but it's just another nowhere path that leads What's the big deal? Well, the big deal comes from when you read the description of the character this mysterious voice is coming from. Quote, about 5 steps away, sitting in the shadow, you see a doll that resembles a little girl. She has red hair and pigtails and is wearing a red dress that matches her hair. Her face, legs, and arms are bone white, and she has a blood-red nose and crimson circles on her cheeks. Her entire appearance is unnerving. Immediately I knew I needed to identify this character. My first thought was Eleanor from other Fazbear Fright stories like To Be Beautiful. After all, Return to the Pit is a retelling of a Fright story. She is described as looking like a doll with a clown-like face and red pigtails. This felt like an obvious match, but then when I went back and took a closer look at Eleanor's description, the more that connection felt less and less strong. Yes, she's got a clown-like face, but her cheeks are actually pink. And her body is silver, not white.
Hey, he's touching both the ceiling and the floor.
And silver with a long neck, a tiny waist, and a rounded bust and hips. Its legs and arms were long.
Look how long those long legs are.
That doll is more
There we
reflective
go.
of an adult woman with a rounded bust and hips and longer limbs. But the doll in Return to the Pit is described as
done. Well, the eyes need to go on, but I don't really feel like working on those right now, so we're just gonna go on to the next one, I
While I
guess.
scratched my head over this, there was one other detail that pointed me in the right direction. Once again, you hear the sound of laughter beside you. High-pitched giggling. You turn your head and look at the doll. She sits there, perfect still, but the laughter gets louder and louder. As we discussed, it feels like this is trying to align itself with the game canon. So, a red nose, red cheeks, red hair, a red dress, and a creepy childlike laugh can only match one character.
Right. I'm putting the
Now, if
fabric
you're
on
like
putting it that way.
sitting there thinking, what the heck is Blush Baby doing? Her inclusion felt so intrusive, like an annoying ad that keeps asking for your data on every website you visit, or like Santi as he follows me around the office. Fortunately, today's sponsor NordVPN can help me out with at least two of those things. NordVPN allows me to deal with all these intrusive ads with their next level malware.
This one is going to be as
Clickstrap ain't getting anywhere near
cool, or as long as that one. The
VPN
fabric's
has
smaller, but
thousands of servers
I should be able to still get what I need out of it.
ultra fast too. So in an instant,
The only problem is I
can
can't tell which is the front, which is the back with this.
Like my home of the UK. And now I can not only enjoy a
That's
massive
the
live
front.
brand new streaming content from places like Netflix and Disney Plus, but I also don't have to look at Santi's.
I cannot tell the difference, so it doesn't matter.
Literally change your location, right?
I don't know. Do you realize there's an agony murder rabbit behind you? Do you even hear what you're saying? You do. But on top of all that good stuff, Nord is offering you guys a huge discount on a 2-year plan, along with 4 additional bonus months for free. All you have to do is use my link nordvpn.com/game theory. Plus, if you try it out and find that it's not for you, Nord has a 30-day money-back guarantee. So it's a win-win for everybody, even Santi. Well, if you want to take your online security seriously, protect your data, and explore a world of content outside of your region, click the link in the description or use my link, nordvpn.com/game theory. Thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this episode. Now, let's figure out what Blush Baby is doing here. The truth is, I've actually been asking this question for a long time. Plush Baby was first introduced back in FNAF VR Help Wanted as a simple, plushy version of Circus Baby, even using the same lines as her, just higher pitch. Her level was, let's say, challenging. But from a lore perspective, this was a VR game made by Fazbear Entertainment that makes their reputation while also promoting merchandise. So, a plush version of Baby that people could then love or hate that they could then take home with them makes a lot of sense. What didn't make a lot of sense is the fact she kept reappearing in games that didn't have that lore purpose. In Help Wanted 2, we're essentially a technician fixing all the attractions, but there Plush Baby is, making her way towards us to jump scare us. In Security Breach Ruin, Cassie can find a secret room inside Bonnie Bowl that, when you take off the Vanny mask, reveals a room full of Plush Babies all laughing like they do, only to disappear when you turn your back. And you can also collect AR versions of the plushie, with Cassie's only comment being, what is she doing here? Not only has Scott been including her in all the Steel Wool era FNAF games, but he is specifically calling out that her presence is weird. And now she's being shoved into Return to the Pit during 1985. What is Scott trying to tell us with this character? Well, let's look at Plush Baby compared to the character.
Work.
Circus Baby. What difference do you notice? Besides the fact that one is a doll and one is a 7-foot monster clown. The eyes. Plush Baby's eyes are blue, while Circus Baby's eyes are green. Though longtime fans of the franchise will remember that this isn't a design error from Scott. Circus Baby's eyes were originally blue, up until she scooped Afton's daughter Elizabeth and got Circus Baby's Pizza World shut down before it even opened. When Baby scooped Elizabeth, Baby became possessed by Elizabeth, and as part of that, gained Elizabeth's blue eyes. So for the Babies to have blue eyes, they have to have been based on the character prior to Elizabeth's scooping. Therefore, from a timeline perspective, for this toy to exist as it does in Return to the Pit, a blue-eyed Circus Baby needed to exist before 1985. We still don't have anything telling us exactly when her scooping happened prior to that date in 1985, whether it was before or after Dave the Crying Child and Charlie's deaths. But hey, at this point with FNAF, I'll take whatever timeline wins I can guess. Although, that isn't the only thing this appearance teaches us. Because of Circus Baby's Pizza World's ambiguous placement in the FNAF timeline, there have been a lot of theories about why Baby and the Fun Times were designed with claws in
I'm
their
gonna
stomachs.
see if I can get some of this at least cut out. Then I'm gonna spend some time stuffing some plushies for tomorrow.
To capture them when the only thing we'd seen at that point was him stuffing the kids into suits himself. One option that has been theorized about is that the Funtime designs were made to capture kids in their stomachs because of the police sniffing around after the missing children's incident. Afton couldn't risk getting caught leading children into the back room himself like he used to, so he'd just have the animatronics do it for him. But in this book, we're being shown that Plush Baby, and therefore a pre-Elizabeth baby, were around before 1985, before the missing children's incident, which happened in Return to the Pit in 1985. That implies that Afton's use of Baby and the Funtimes was less responsive and more proactive. Like it was always the plan to have an assist in capturing kids. Like he knew it was the smart approach to have that rather than doing it all himself. He wanted someone else to bring the kids to a secluded place where he could then kill them. He needed an accomplice. And if you think about it, this idea is actually being reflected with Plush Baby's recent
This doesn't feel right.
In Return
I fucked this up.
is led to
Well, I guess I'll make some stingrays out of it.
Plush Baby, and is then killed by a yellow rabbit. Literally Afton. It's a weird monster version of Afton with hundreds of teeth. But then again, it's not literally Baby
Oh, wait.
either. Instead, it's
That is the
symbolic
extension.
of the relationship these two characters have. Baby is once
Yeah, I hope
again
that doesn't fuck up too
able to
much.
capture the kids, luring them to a place where Afton can finish them off. A similar thing happened
Fuck.
in Ruin when we played
Release.
another child. We're lured to a secret back room much like Oswald was, and inside are a bunch of giggling plush babies. Fortunately, this time, no rabbit came to kill us. And you know why? Because the one who is acting like Afton, the mimic, is locked downstairs in the basement. We haven't
That
released
is-
it yet. We can't even put on the Vanny mask in this room, because doing so would summon mixes, the thing that is working to keep the mimic trapped. Symbolically, we're being shown that Afton,
Okay.
all things that think
I
they're
take
Afton don't work alone. Though it's
that
not
one.
just symbolic either. The more I thought about this, the more I
would
realized
have to
that
be
recent FNAF has been showing us
the
Afton's
legs
need for an
there.
accomplice to put with his plans.
How am I
take a
gonna
look
do
at the
this?
FNAF movie. We've never actually talked about the FNAF movie on this channel before, mainly because Lee stole it from me. Hey, you weren't using it. Well, I am now, so I'll be taking this back. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, look over there! I think Santi's trying to steal an anime episode from you. Hey, come back here! No, you don't. Where was I? Oh,
Alright,
yeah, the
so
FNAF
I'm gonna
movie.
take
In that movie, we meet William
out
Afton,
of
played
here,
by Matthew Lillard. But
which
the key
means
twist of the
this is
movie
gonna be
that
my
while
12.
He got Mike the job at Freddy's.
That'll work.
He had
Hope
someone
that'll work.
inside keeping an eye on him. In fact, the only reason Afton showed up at the end to try and kill Mike was because this person didn't do the job.
Where is the giant stick? Got it.
His own daughter, Vanessa, in the movie universe, is Afton's accomplice. Just like how Baby, an animatronic that would be possessed by Afton's daughter and represent her going forward, was his accomplice in the Bane timeline. Now,
Right.
I know this idea that Afton has always had an accomplice might sound like a bit of a stretch. It always seemed like Afton
Where's
was
the
the
good
sole killer. And believe me, I get it. I've been going back and forth with Ash on this topic for weeks. Look at this whiteboard. Does this look like something sane people would write? But trust me, I really think there's something to this idea that Afton always needed an accomplice. Especially because it would really begin to explain why Vanessa was so important to Glitchtrap in the modern games. I always found it a bit weird that the Minute One program acting like Afton, otherwise known as Glitchtrap, decided that he needed to brainwash someone in order to accomplish its goal. It's a cool concept, and we've always liked the cult of Afton idea, but it just felt a little out of the blue compared to other developments in the franchise. The only logical explanation we've had is that it needed a new body to be made because its main body was destroyed and locked away down in the Force 6 location. But if I'm right about what this book and all of these other games are showing us, then it is way more than just a simple put them back together plan. It was the mimic once again following in Afton's footsteps. It needed its own accomplice. The other weird detail that we just couldn't quite answer was why did Vanessa look like grown-up Elizabeth? Blonde hair and green eyes. Unlike in the movie, she didn't appear to actually be Afton's daughter. The timelines didn't match up. But if the mimic was copying everything Afton did, from killing kids in the back room during VIP to literally wearing the bunny costume Afton used to wear, it couldn't have just anyone be its accomplice. It needed to find one that matched Afton's previous accomplice. Circus Baby, i.e. Elizabeth. here's the thing, for once, I don't think this is just another one of those clarifying details that we talked about in previous episodes.
Alright, that is my two long ones, and those are our length.
So this relies much more on us connecting the dots and using symbolism. So
Okay,
much
I gotta
so
f
that
out
shoving it in our faces
what
for
I'm
the
gonna
past
use
5
for your
years, and
underside.
we're just starting to realize what it means.
How do I use that
theory
yellow? Do I have
tells
enough
me
of
that
this
while
now?
modern era of FNAF
Absolutely
is moving
not.
physically from the days of Afton and Henry, there's still much more for us to learn about them and how
Butter
they
yellow.
operate. And I believe
This
it's
one.
going to affect where this franchise is going.
Get that
And
stain.
I that ties together really
You okay?
nicely with the thing we've been
Sorry!
talking about for
Sorry, I didn't mean to slap you.
that will hopefully
Focus, bitch.
more often
There we go.
secret of
This one's too complicated, so fuck that.
previous theories all come together. In my very first FNAF theory, I briefly mentioned how Circus Baby has always been the oddball in terms of design aesthetic.
Gonna have to go with it anyway.
all the other characters. But a circus like Fall Fest would allow her design to feel much more at home, especially now that we have designs like Jackie. In my Secret of the Mimic theory, I also theorized that Fall Fest, specifically of 1979, would be where we get to see one of Afton's earliest kills. Maybe
You know what?
even his first.
Doesn't
This
matter.
was because of a quote used by
Because-
Steelwork's design director when the trailer for the game dropped. A line from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar that comes from a scene between Mark Antony and Brutus, where Brutus had killed Caesar, but Antony couldn't accuse him publicly. I believe this was reflecting Afton and Henry, with Afton being Brutus, Henry being Antony,
That'll
and an
get me
innocent child filling the role of
right
Caesar.
here.
Caesar loved Brutus, just
Nice.
like the kids loved Afton's yellow rabbit. I believe that much like Antony, Henry was unable to accuse Afton publicly despite knowing about it because it would lead to the downfall of his business. So by combining these two theories as well as what we talked
gonna
about
get
today
creative.
between Afton and Baby, we get a much clearer picture of what we can expect to learn about from Secret of the Mimic. Not only are we likely to learn about one of Afton's earliest kills, but we're going to see the true introduction of his accomplice that he's been using since the
I'm gonna leave a few out of this one, but we're gonna go for it.
Parents and help Afton lure kids into a secret area and kill them. If I'm right, this would further explain why after the death of his son, his first instinct was to go back to Baby for his new venture. It was a return to school, back to the partner he could trust after his previous partner Henry betrayed him by making an animatronic that killed his son. The only thing I'm not really sure about, and the thing
There
I'm
we go.
most excited to see, is who this accomplice actually was. As I've mentioned in previous theories, Fall Fest wasn't the era of animatronics, of costumes. So this baby accomplice won't be the bundle of wires we know today. It will be a costume worn by a human.
So that will be-
Was it just another person
That'll
playing
give
the
me
big
4.
round role as part of the circus that happened? Or was it Afton's actual baby, Elizabeth? A little girl dressed as a clown, helping her dad at his circus show by playing with other kids, making her more of an unknowing accomplice, like Vanessa is the reluctant follower for the Mimic. I think thematically it works really nicely, and it explains the whole baby name, but we just have no idea how old Elizabeth is at any point in the story. So it's hard to say for sure that she'd have even been alive in 1979. Maybe that's another point of clarification that Scott will left for us in Secret of the Mimic. You know, he'll just do another retcon and then gaslight us into thinking it was there the whole time. I'll admit there's also the chance that this is where Jackie Flash the Mimic comes into play, with their clown design being the premise for Baby later on. They were initially the accomplice learning from Afton that later became their master, turning Vanessa into their own accomplice. But what do you guys think? I know that this one
I think
feels
I'm tired
like a
of
big
listening to
swing,
5 Nights
so
at Freddy's
I'd really
theories.
love to hear what you think right now over on GT Live. Ash and I are going to be talking about FNAF until we physically can't anymore. So there's plenty of time to hop on by and give us your thoughts. Whether it's actual evidence to
Put on a movie.
you found my sanity in the lost and found. Either way, friends, remember, it's all just a
Maybe I should put on a movie.
game theory.
Pop up Netflix and let people guess what I'm watching.
Millions of prizes with the AliExpress $1 challenge.
Okay, that is 4 at that length. Let the fuck go! There we go.
Credit and a $3,000 AliExpress shopping. Download Shake.
Should give me my other. Yes. Okay. Alright. Stop it. They all look the same.
Your faves for less. Meals now starting at $9.99. Dips for less. Drips for less. Legends for less. Meals now starting at $9.99 with medium fries and a medium fountain drink every day.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory and page 20 of our final FNAF timeline. This is getting ridiculous. Last time we covered William Afton's drive.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh! You don't get much closer than that.
Promise it would ultimately serve as his driving force for decades. I will put you better together. Fueled by grief and obsession, Afton would lose himself in work and dreams. One night in a separation, lashes out against Henry's young daughter, Charlie.
I don't think that's actually going to be long enough, but it's too late now.
Sequence of events that ultimately
It's a little shorter, but we can still work with that. I'll mix them. They'll be fine.
For blood, resulting in deaths of 10 more children across 2 different pizzerias. Those children go on to possess animatronics, giving Afton his first exposure to Remnant and the potential solutions for bringing his son back to life. The need to learn more about this miraculous power leads him to produce the Funtime animatronics, as well as their structured plexes. Robots designed to bring kids to him for experimentation and collection of more Remnant. Except there was one thing that he didn't account for. His daughter's curiosity. He made the robots too appealing, and it would cost him Elizabeth's life. Now with 2 children to put back together, Afton was more desperate and crazed than ever, returning to defunct pizzerias to steal the possessed metal still living inside their walls. What he didn't account for, though, were the ghosts, forcing him to pay for the sins of his past. The last we left him, William was spring-locked, leading to death behind a secret wall. Gone, but certainly not forgotten. We're about to see in today's video. Today we're finishing up chapter 2 of our story, wrapping up the Afton era. Over the next 6 pages, we switch our focus to the other main character of the franchise, Mike, a young boy dealing with the fallout of a stupid childhood decision with tragic consequences. A young man whose life is best described as collaborating damage, caught in the blast radius of William's whirlwind of destruction. Before we begin, let me rip off the band-aid now. We won't be finishing the timeline.
Alright, we got the 4 short. The other 4 short. 2 long. That leaves me with, I need pads, the grabby hands.
Is just in the process of being edited. It is a hefty episode. So mark it on your calendar. That one's actually going to be going live on March 20th. It's also coming complete with a
What did I eyeball it? Fuck it.
Go back over everything from the past couple episodes, as well as having ourselves some very special guests. So overall, that one should be a lot of fun. Fair warning, though, the conclusions we've reached to that Salt security breach, they are controversial. I feel good about it. Like, I think that we've locked in on a lot of the answers here, but they're going to raise a lot of discussion. Let's just say that you're either going to love that episode or hate it. I don't really think there's going to be much in between on that one. Anyway, without any further ado, let's cover a chunk of the timeline that's a lot less controversial. Let's meet Mike.
Alright, that's there.
Still wasn't back. Weird. Michael knew his father sometimes traveled for work, appearing for days on end, but usually there was some sort of notice, a phone call, post-it, something. It's not like Michael and his father were close. Far from
I'm sorry. I didn't look. I'm sorry I missed you. Hi, are you still there?
They were united by
I'm working on a giant squid.
This time though, things felt different. William had left nothing.
Are you still there?
No check-ins, no updates, just silence.
Come back someday. One thing about when crafting, when you're live streaming, it's really hard to keep an eye on the chat because your eyes are kind of occupied trying not to cut your fingers off. There we go. Alright. Get the pod, get the pads. No, I need one more piece. Oh, did I fuck up? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. There we go. No, wait. That's the leg. That's the leg. No. Yes. Oh, I knew it. Oh, honey. I barely. There is no wiggle room with that blanket.
The shelf swung open and revealed a giant industrial elevator, one that led straight down into an underground bunker. But that was impossible. Hidden inside his childhood was a secret entrance to an enormous underground science layer. It didn't make any sense. Seriously, it didn't make any sense. And yet, here it was.
Tail.
Ugh.
What the hell?
known his father, a
Nope.
prideful, sad, angry man with petty, everyday problems.
Nope.
Clearly, he'd been living with a stranger this entire time. His father had seen him. Suddenly, the days of William being
What?
locked inside of his office made
Fuck
sense.
nuggets.
He'd been
I just had it.
here the entire time. Where was here, though? Was this circus,
Eh.
babies, entertainment, and medical?
Whatever. We're gonna wing it.
Did seem to be a deeply personal project for father. A failure of his that cut unusually deep, especially after that first location had
Where'd it go?
prematurely due to a gas leak.
Where'd it go?
After that day, father really
Here, giant squid is just finished. There you are.
lose himself even more in his work. Clearly, the entrance he had found was some sort of secret back way into the facility, one that required crawling through vents. to
Will,
navigate. His
just
father
measure this
had worked
one.
here, but in secret. Why? And that's when he found her. At the end of the facility, the circus gate. His
Yeah, that'll work.
father's door. Except something was different about her. She wasn't like the others. The way she talked was
There we go. That's my extra. This is all I have left for scrap.
not only was she alive, she also felt familiar.
There's something bad inside of me. I'm broken. I can't help it.
Is this his sister? William's baby girl? But how? What was this place? He dug around some old files and found blueprints outlining the features of these animatronics, storage containers, voice mimicking, parental tracking.
What is your favorite hobby? Ta-da! This is it.
Experimenting on kids? Were all the rumors that he
Sewing. Well, not my favorite hobby. Well, a small business hobby, I guess.
All the pizzerias. That his father had somehow been the prime suspect in all of it. Suddenly, Michael's mind flashed back to his persistent nightmares throughout his childhood.
What do you like to do?
Tears stung in his eyes as anger, fear, and confusion filled his body. His father's secrets were pouring out. William wasn't just a lame, ignorant brother. He was a monster, toying with life itself. Suddenly, everything clicked. He frantically looked around the room, blinking
Fine.
brain eyes. His sister.
I like doing that. Actually, I have to make some more art pretty soon. I have some, but it's not exactly for the gift shop downtown. So I'm gonna have to make more like touristy artwork, like beaches and lighthouses and fish. Pays the bills.
No, he had to get them out of there. If this really was his sister, if any of these things were human souls,
Oh, you're gonna be a pain in my fucking ass, aren't you? Do I have? Maybe this will work. Oh, hang on. I think I found something. Yeah. There. Should work.
Finally, he would be able to forgive himself for the killing of his brother so many years.
You are in the sleeping room. The scooper only hurts.
Super? That bad extraction arm? People had seen that one in
There we go.
blueprints.
Alright. What kind of art do you make?
In reality, prior to getting the spring lock and put behind the wall, William's methods had become increasingly sophisticated, with a mechanized
This
arm that could
is
infuse new
wrong.
bodies into the soul. William could finally give and take away life. The only thing he needed were the bodies. But William wasn't the only one looking for bodies.
What?
Michael
Do you sew? Do you paint? Watercolor, acrylics, oil?
Then we could hide. If we looked like you, then we would have somewhere to go.
Michael was going to be the hero to crime. He was going to Electronics escape, just not the way that he anticipated. His sister had lied to him. Another game of pretend. The scooper plowed forward, digging into
I do colored pencil. That sounds like fun. I haven't used those in quite some time. I have some watercolor colored pencil. I should probably like practice with those or something. What time zone are you in? It is almost 10:30 here.
Be Frankie, plus some more true crime and thrillers. He was forced to comply with the tangle
Oh.
of fires and spirits.
You're more west than I am. Nice. My live streams are not very entertaining to watch, but I find I get more work done when I feel like I'm being watched. Otherwise, I would just be on TikTok. Or reading fan fiction.
Even with rotting purple
Probably
flesh
both.
waiting to die, Michael continued to live. That silvery metal remnant injected by the scooper meant that he couldn't die. His anger also refused to die. What he had seen down there in his sister's location had rocked him to his core. His experiments had killed his sister and then tortured him throughout all his childhood. He was actively trying to build human. He knew that he was out there somewhere. Michael would burn Fazbear Entertainment. Michael's strategy was simple. He would apply for night security. No one ever had to see him or smell him during his shift. These abandoned buildings, and yet no one ever really. Enter one by one, he would take on the job of security, changing his
Trying a chick or a chicken. Yesterday I was making baby stingrays. Tomorrow I will probably make more baby stingrays. It's easier to make them out of this like scrap fabric. I can't make many out of this blanket, but I can make some baby stingrays with moons and stars on them. It's a good way to use up the smaller pieces. This might be my last project for the night. I'll try and get all the limbs done.
Subverting away whatever spirit-laden animatronics that still existed inside seemed like a winning strategy.
Where do you live? I'm on the east coast of Canada.
Hallucinations that brought him back to his childhood. The guilt around killing his brother. His dreams were vaguely mixed with the shrill phone calls of the security guards. But it would all be worth it in the end. The goal was to eventually stumble across the one location, the one job that would finally reunite him with his father. Little did Mike know that that day would come sooner than he expected. 2023, an advertisement came across Mike's TV. Fazbear Frights, a new horror attraction inspired by the awful crimes that occurred around Freddy Fazbear's Pizza so many years ago. It made Mike sick. People looking to make a quick buck off the tragedy of others, off his own family. This wasn't a joke or entertainment. Regardless, he had to be a part of it.
Yeah,
This
same.
team was combing through his family's history and might stumble across something that could be useful. And if his father was truly still alive,
Are you in the States or in Canada?
Maybe finally this was his final chapter in his family. Mike applied for the job and was immediately given the keys. Years of doing it, as security guards rarely received thorough security tickets. He also liked how creepy Mike looked, but thought it was caustic. The theme for the job, little they knew.
Hey, glad you came back for another night. I promise you'll get a lot more interesting this time.
For weeks, there was nothing, but just as Mike considered it, the call that he'd been waiting for.
You're not your voice, but your work's a real one.
But this finally began. Sure enough, there he was. William inside his iconic golden body spray-on suit. Only now it was green and decaying days.
Close enough?
There they were, a small family of broken men finally reunited. It's been a long time, man. Mike had always struggled with phantoms of his now, all the animatronics he'd encountered over the past months, nothing from
Oh,
Julius
thanks.
suddenly sprang to life. They're
I'm fun to go there. Looks so nice and warm. It's warm here right now, actually. We're in the middle of a drought. So, rain would be absolutely fantastic about now.
One that was more than just mere family. The security. He looked at the cameras at just the right moment. He could see it floating there through the halls. He could even see its reflection in the water pooled on the ground. It would seem like he wasn't the only one there on mission. While he was dealing with Springtrap, Michael assumed that this one was likely dealing with the spirits of this place, finally setting them to right.
Do you guys have a hurricane season?
Mike thought to himself. The air around him, like pressure being let out of a bottle. The building sighed.
Fuck! Did it again! God damn, it's so fucking hard! I might be getting tired. This is my other live stream crashed for some reason. So
he had survived, and Mike would need to find
try that again.
Luckily, the solution would present itself later that year. Not from Mike, but from another victim that had been left in his father's wake.
You're talking about becoming a Fazbear Entertainment franchisee. Restaurant ownership and management. Something almost anyone can do with a limited degree of success. You are now the face of the newly rebranded Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Fazbear Entertainment's brand's been closed for years. William had
Try that
been
again.
stuck in the wall. The only person who legally could bring the franchise back was Henry, but he'd largely pulled out of the franchise around the time of his father's disappearance. Something was up. Surely this had to be some kind of a trick, right? Mike, doing what he did best, applied for a franchise and immediately got the job. It was just ordinary. Paragraph 4.
If you have any questions, not only have you been checking outside at the end of every shift, as you were instructed to do, but also that you have found something that meets the criteria of your special obligations under paragraph 4.
No employment contract he'd ever signed required him to keep special lookout for independently moving animatronics outside the restaurant. Now he knew something was up here. Henry was luring them back. Rather than trying to go to them, he was putting them all under the same roof. He was finishing
There we
them
go.
off.
That's better.
Mike knew this wasn't meant to be a restaurant.
Thank you.
A lot of boxes meant to trap them all in so they could finally end the madness. A few nights.
You ever sell any of your artwork?
Father, spaghetti that had once violated his body, and his sister that served the man. It was time. He had been instructed to say, but then he left everything. This was truly meant to be the end. If the remnant needed to be washed away, he needed to be a part of that.
This is where your story ends. So to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing, for you, although there's no way out. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be, and do you want to be still? Promoting you, I believe there is a waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one, don't keep the devil waiting.
And that was over. After all of them trapped inside of a little dance around office, Mike, for the first time in decades, was happy. Instead, he found himself lost in moments from his past. The pizzeria, his son's room, his underground bunker. It was as if his brain's neurons were all firing at once, overloaded, mixing and matching.
Alright, 30 minutes and then I'm gonna go to bed. Because I fucking need to sleep. I also need to do dishes. So I want to do the dishes.
Then they started coming. Without warning, animatronics, both new and old, began to jump out at him, bite him, rip him limb from limb. The pain was immeasurable. Make it stop! Make it stop! William, for the first time, longed for death, an end to this torture. Just as it felt like he couldn't take it anymore, everything was quiet again. It was as if the world had been reset. There was a brief moment of quiet, and then the onslaught began again. Dozens of faces from his past all focused on him. A waking nightmare that he couldn't escape from. More pain, more ripping. It was his own personal hell. So why? Why couldn't he
There's
just
one
die?
leg.
Then he saw.
Oh, you fucker. I can hand stitch that little nick down. There.
Fido's back to school deals with you save on your phone and plan, so you can spend on what you actually need. Back to school deals. Student approved.
He
Because the jungle is real. Because you're only human in these hills.
Are you in school or college or anything? That's right.
And he solved it. Proof of characters he wouldn't think they'd see again. Those janky, stolen characters that had started their mediocre. It had all started to go wrong once they showed up. Once Henry had made that, but mixed in with their obnoxious southern drawls, William heard something else. It was barely a whisper, but just words. He tried to release you.
I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here.
Okay.
I will keep you here.
Thank you.
No matter how many times they burn.
Do you guys have like a winter there? I don't think you guys have snow. Do you have like a colder season, I guess?
The one he shouldn't have played, William Butler. He'd done a lot of awful things, but there was always the one that stood out. Not no. Instead, it was the one that had lost control. The one that he had broken beyond repair for no good reason other than because he could. The one that he stuffed inside the building bear that Cassidy. They were bad. Now they were trying to punish him, to make him suffer like he made them suffer. It was almost like William and Cassidy's souls had been locked together, fused by a collective rage and spite, each one refusing to move on. But while Cassidy was so focused on taking revenge, the downfall for so many others, it kept William alive. Even though fire should have destroyed the remnant that was coursing through his being, Cassidy kept William paving the way for his escape. William's will was so strong, his soul so powerful that he managed to spring-locked suit, and there his consciousness lay, waiting for someone to find him and set him free. A person that important as we shift perspectives month and tell his side of the story. And with FNAF VR, AR, don't worry, I know you've all been patient. The final video is happening on March 25th. That is locked. It is getting ready to go. In a month, this thing will be over. Talk about the big Orville elephant in the room. Mike's playing for I was vague about the dates, and there's good reason why. We need to make them fit in. Here's what I do know. We know that time out for get fired for quote tampering with the animatronics.
No, wait, it's just rain. I'll trade you. I will send you some of my snow, and you send me some of your rain, because we're in the middle of a fucking drought right now. I don't even dare mow the yard. It's just dry. Like one load of laundry, maybe a week. It's like that's all you dare to do.
Why is that so unusual though?
I can always go to the laundromat if I think the well's gonna go, but hasn't done it yet.
Suddenly setting fires left and right. But for the first 3 games, nothing ever catches fire. The animatronics are just moved or repurposed in some way. So when did they burn? And why would our security guards see them as being burned? Someone has to have been going location to location, setting these places on fire, purging the sins of the past. We know we're definitely playing as Mike and Sister Look.
There we go. Second one done. Oh my god, my neck. Got a projector in a few days. Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
Security guard. We also know that Mike has seen the nightmare animatronics based on his drawings and evidence that connects all of FNAF. It doesn't have a page for Mike Afton. This thing has a page for Chocolate.
Oh, I'd love to go to Japan. I want to travel more this period because I do love traveling. Not particularly the whole travel part, but like once you get next to it. But nobody likes airports and airplanes and your legs hurting and all that stuff. I've been mostly the touristy places in the Atlantic, like Cuba, Dominican, Mexico, and stuff like that. So I've been to a couple places in the States. a few places I'd like to go back to, but with the current governmental personalities in the States, I will be waiting a few years before I return there. But I would love to do Las Vegas again. That was just adult Disneyland. Expensive, but my god, it's pretty. I've been to Austin, Texas. I've been to Texas just once. And I've been to Florida technically twice. Once when I was a kid, so it was like, you know, your Disney trip, and the other was a couple of years back. I don't particularly like Florida, or maybe I just haven't had the right experience there with the right people. Who knows?
See you on March 25th for the grand finale. We cover the final 3 games of the franchise. It's those 3 final. Today's sponsor, Air Up. I think we can help them out with the hydration thing. That's what burning the light.
Fleece.
You guys know that I hate drinking
I use fleece fabric, like the yellow is by, you know, you get by the meter at the fabric store, and the star pattern is actually a fleece blanket I get from the store, because at the end of the day it is cheaper to buy the blankets than it is to buy the fleece by the meter. But some of the fabrics don't have really cute patterns on them, so I just use them for the backs, and the blankets got the really cute patterns, so I use those for like the outside of my stingrays and giant squid and stuff. And if I get 50 by 60 then blanket, then I know that I have exactly enough fabric to make 1 giant squid and a couple of little baby stingrays. I should be sewing bats, but those take about an hour each, and I haven't sewn them in a year, and they're a lot of pieces, so not right now. I like making one-of-a-kind things, which is great, but it means it's a lot of work for me, and I've got to stop doing that and just sit down and make like maybe 5 yellow giant squids instead of a yellow one and a blue one and a pink one. Because then I'll go back a couple of days later or a month later, but like, I need another yellow giant squid instead of making like 5 at the same time. Does that make sense?
Right now. Plus, if you purchase any starter set and use the code FREEFATE5,
Okay.
you'll receive 1 free
Really go up and down with his pattern, which is kind of nice. Do you do any sewing?
So once again, head on down to the description.
QuickBooks touches all areas of the business. Having something that can scale with us is super important. I saw that there is multi-location.
I think the squid will be cute. I've tried knitting once. It wasn't good for anyone involved. At the end of it, I had a knotted ball of rage and 2 sharp, pointy sticks. So yeah, I don't knit. For everyone else's safety. If I'm sewing, I mean, the worst I can do to myself is maybe sew my fingers together. I don't hurt anybody else. Yellow side down for some reason. I have made squid out of this blanket before. It's not like completely new to me. But it's been a while since I found one like this.
Today we end the war. Today we solve FNAF. Wait, did we say this exact same thing 7 years ago?
See any good movies lately? Needle chopsticks. Needle chopsticks? The ones that are like the pointy, but they're like stuck at the back of the piece of flexible plastic. Is that the one you mean?
Welcome to Game Theory, the show that reminds you that if you click the like button, for a block party. Go ahead, try it. See, you're not working hard enough. Aren't you tired of this?
I'm just tired. Dear Matt Patch, I'm just tired, period. I haven't even watched K-pop Demon Hunters. I've just seen most of it on TikTok. I have Netflix. I should just actually sit down and watch it. I can't seem to do it.
Largely be right, except you'd also be missing one of the most
Imagine.
those patches. They're not just
And like, there's counting involved in knitting, isn't there? Yeah, I'm not very good at counting.
puzzle that exists inside of this thing. It's not just a jacket. It's the world's first ARG jacket. You heard that right. A world first. It's not a
Oh, come on, just
all my research
sit down and get going.
existed. We've actually manufacturers to obviously I don't want to give too much away because clothing that to solve it, you get a special final cap to show that you are truly a I mean, covering the major mysteries of the
Now, the big part. Gimme. Come on.
I made this video. The clue that solves Five Nights at Freddy's. Where we put together all the pieces to support Dream Theory. The concept that the first 4 games nightmares happening inside the mind of a child. In that episode, lots
I think my needle's getting dull.
of alarm that grandfather clock for 3 games and a digital clock.
No, finish this and then change it.
In a hospital right before he dies, which, ironically enough, is the one whose gameplay is now to get a recreation. Virtually the same. Gregory as the crying child, reborn in a robot body. Him reuniting with his brother Michael in the form of Glamrock Freddy and his sister Elizabeth in the form of Vanessa. And we've covered a lot of evidence trying to support that claim. The character's design, colors, the ice cream, the voice lines, robotic eyes, the satisfying narrative arc that it provides the game's 3-star ending. I mean, it's are 2 episodes that are jam-packed full of discussion around exactly this. But today, I finally have my smoking gun. The clue that takes it
I
from
don't
just a controversial
think we knew each other. Trying to think now. I graduated high school. 2020. 02. 2022. Jesus, no, 02. I've been out for quite some time. The only exchange student we had in our school at the time were from Mexico, I think. Roberto and Fernando. Online discussions, it's been largely overlooked because it's sandwiched in the middle of the game, overshadowed by the animatronic spaghetti monster ending. And even though I knew that something had to be hidden, trying to figure it out was like finding a needle. Yeah? Is it obvious, Matt? What is it?
certain age.
Okay, bye. You have a good day.
Post-it notes. Yeah, you just leave them around. Okay. Robot heads. So with that incredible insight, I spent literal hours off camera trying to look at every single post to make sure that I got the full picture. That was done. Discovered that the game file had been dug up and the post-it textures were just there in 3 simple images. Thanks to Just Xspot, flush those hours of our life down the toilet. When you study these post-it textures, you actually realize that there are 3 phases to post-it notes. One that's barely legible, another where they become nearly perfect. It looks like someone is trying to.
What time is it? Alright, 10 minutes.
It all begins here with a note written in binary. When you first enter the room, there's a cardboard box in the middle. To draw our attention to the most important crowded and busy-looking room. On it, we get this.
Alright. That's the body of the giant squid.
And doing it with binary, the language of machines, computers, robots. Elsewhere in the room is more binary that translates to hide. Whatever this thing is, it's scared and it's confused. It hides until it can better understand what or who it's meant to be. The other illegible phase 1 notes here are random flashing thoughts. The sky, kids, love, random glimpses of memories coming into focus. The phrase, I can feel it, is this creature coming into
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Which looks like Aspen.
Bad singing.
Pretty unclear. In short, it appears to be a machine that started speaking in binary, but as more and more memories start to take hold, it begins to write in normal alphabetic characters. When you dive into the notes from phases 2 and 3, though, things start to get much clearer. It's mainly images of scenes revolving parties, happy place, birthday time, family, a pile of presents, some cake, let's get a snack, fun, friends forever, pizza time. Nothing particularly earth-shattering for a series about pizza restaurants. But then there's one posted in the phase 3 notes that really stands out. The one clue that truly brings together the last 2 months of research. This thing is the linchpin. It's our smoking gun, my friends. And it all boils down to a present alongside 3 simple words, all for me.
iExcel is helping 15 million students succeed in math and language arts. On iExcel, your child can stay on track or get ahead by practicing. Whether they learn best with step-by-step explanations, video tutorials, or games, iExcel is here to guide them. Backed by over 75 scientific research studies, you can trust that you're choosing the best educational technology. Give your child the keys to success. Join iExcel today.
They're airbag safe, anti-slip, and really easy to clean. They come in several color options. We're not getting these seat counts away from new users. Click to grab your Pokemon now.
Me. The party was all for me. Does that mean anything to you? Because it certainly does for me. See, in the FNAF survival logbook, a seemingly innocuous workbook full of pizzeria-themed activities, you have 3 voices. Afton, writing his answers in red pen, the vengeful spirit Cassidy.
Okay, attach the legs. There's the body.
And the crying child responds, it was for me, all for me. Suddenly, all the party imagery makes sense.
So.
The balloons, the cake, the kids. This is the
Just get these turned and get them pinned in. That's all I have to do. 4 minutes.
And using this context, suddenly
I still don't know where the good scissors went.
in the first phase notes, we see a crudely drawn house with a set of arrows pointing towards what looks to be a strange set of doors. Maybe another building? Which admittedly doesn't make much sense unless this is the crying child, who, in FNAF 4, would walk down and to the right and then back up to go to Freddy's with his brother every single day. In the phase 3 notes, we see this close-up of a bear, which would have been the last thing that the crying child saw before his head got chopped. Blue, yellow, green, and red, those are the flashing lights above the Fred Bear stage as he gets bit. fit. Or, you know, maybe it's the balloons on the nearby table for someone who can't tell the difference between blue and purple. Even things like hide and no hide relate to the crime child's behavior throughout FNAF 4. He hides under tables, and he is constantly made fun of for it throughout the game. We also see a lot of dialogue about running away, just like on the post-its. Digging deeper, we also start to see other patterns emerging. The number 7 shows up repeatedly as both a set of tally marks as well as a set of 6 faces with a smaller 7th one off to the side. This ties us directly back to FNAF VR, where we had a gravestone
my bones.
7 normal gravestones, 5 missing children,
Yeah,
1
shit.
puppet, and a smaller face watching on, a crying child. As he says in other notes, all my friends, there's also repeated use of the number 3. 3 faces, 3 kids, words repeated 3 times, like home, 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 and fun, 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 3 slices of pizza, 3 presents, even just counting number 3. So what would that mean? Well, think about it. We've seen a lot of references to a house and family throughout these post-its. Seems to me like it's a reference to the 3 Afton kids, Michael, Elizabeth, and the crying child himself. And the thing that brings all of it together isn't a post-it note, but instead the table higher up in the room where we see the staff box arranged like a family at dinner. A mother and a father alongside their 3 kids. 1 red-headed pigtailed girl, 1 boy, and a kid with his head bit off. And just to hammer it all home, in the middle of the table, the collectible is a poster from Fredbear's Family Diner. The place of the fight. The place where all of this began. It looks like the robot finally figured out who he was, and he started to recreate his family. The robot is the crying child, which by proxy then has to be Gregory. And if you need further proof of humanoid robots in the game, Illy Becky on Reddit caught this detail from sister location. Humanoid pets, ones that look very similar to Gregory's face. Oh, and the last thing, much to everyone's excitement, there's actually a new book series coming out later this year. A new season of Fazbear Frights called Pizzaplex, obviously referencing the location in Security Breach. The cover of the first book of the new series, Robot Kid. There it is. Which leads us then to the last puzzle of Security Breach, the retro CDs. For those of you who don't know, there are 16 CDs around the map that you can only find once you've upgraded Freddy's eyes. From there, you take the CDs to a hidden room designed to look exactly like Mike's room from Sister Location. These CDs seem to be recordings of therapy sessions for 2 patients. Patient 71, who we mentioned last time is clearly Vanessa, and patient 46, who we never get to hear speak. And over the course of the various sessions, 46 and 71 are set up to be direct opposites of each other. Vanessa likes flowers, patient 46 does not.
Oh, you like those? The janitor on this floor has a garden and has been putting bouquets in the offices here for years. What's the problem? Oh, the flowers?
Vanessa likes blue skies and doesn't like dark basements. 46 prefers dark.
I like the blue sky. I don't like dark basements. Oh, bright. Too bright. When the shade's pulled, it feels like we're in a cubbyhole or a cave. Yeah?
Vanessa doesn't like candy. 46 does.
Would you like a candy? No, thank you. Those at 35 calories apiece. Sure. You can have a candy.
Obviously, we're meant to see these characters as opposites, which is why so many people online consider that patient 46 might actually be Vanny, Vanessa's alter ego possessed by Glitch Trap. Or, even more extreme, Vanessa's evil twin sister, considering the fire ending shows us a dead Vanny on the ground and Vanessa looking down from the burning building's roof. But let's quickly talk about those 2 interpretations. First of all, Vanessa and Vanny are the same person. They have to be. All the evidence leading up to this game in places like FNAF's Special Delivery have pointed to a woman named Vanessa A getting mind-hacked by Afton and reluctantly following his orders. And in this game, we still have pieces of evidence. For instance, in the CDs, we learned that Vanessa is buying fake fur to make the Vanny costume.
On your breaks, it looks like you were shopping for a costume. You purchased some fake fur material. What are you gonna make?
If she's not the one wearing it, why would she be making it? To me, the fire ending here is meant to be symbolic. We haven't beaten Princess Quest yet, so Vanessa's spirit is still trapped inside that burning building, but her body has died. She is one person. But could the persona of Vanny actually be patient 46? Again, the evidence just doesn't seem to add up to that. Throughout their sessions, we get multiple indications that the therapist is speaking to a child. The way they speak to patient 46 here...
You don't want me to get in trouble, do you? I could be put in the corner for a timeout. Yeah, you think that's funny, huh?
And again here...
Tragedy always leads to feeling loss. It's a whole that feels funny, right?
The way they explain simple words...
And I'm surprised by your knowledge of computers. You're something of a phenom. Do you know what that word means? It means you have unusual skill, like hacker.
The way they point out that 46 doesn't fit into the chair.
That chair doesn't really fit you, does it?
They even mention the fact that they specifically work with children.
You know, I think that people of our ages, from little kids to the very elderly.
I understand the therapists just want to treat ultras as they see themselves, but this just doesn't seem to fit. At no point do we get an indication that Vanny sees herself as a child. But now let's go back to what we assume we know about 46. They're a kid, they like the dark, they like candy, they're really good with computers, they're a bit robotic themselves, answering questions and
Well, more of an objective rather than a subjective narrative. Oh, sorry. I don't know what that means.
Here again, we get another example of the therapist having to explain a relevant. Now, look at our post-it room. It's a dark cave underground. Labeled as "This is my home." On the central box is a drawing of candy. That would be a cat and would also be great at hacking. Heck, the therapist does tell patient 46 to write down their feelings.
I suggested you write down exactly what made you so sad and scared.
And if this room is an example of that, I don't know what is. One step further, if I'm right in saying that Gregory is indeed the robot that came into consciousness here, that's why he doesn't fit into the chair. He's hit. Let us hear 46 therapists. It would immediately take away the mystery of who 46 is, since we hear Gregory talk so much. But why would Gregory, kid, I'm not the people who actively be seeking out therapy? He's not in a school of any kind, and he's not employed, so it wouldn't be mandated. What is going on here? Well, over the course of the series, listeners, both patient 46 and Vanessa visited but the deaths here are ends up getting killed off immediately after they start asking Vanessa about encrypted messages that she's been receiving from the mysterious figure.
Your performance reviews are good, but a routine check of your online histories revealed that you spent quite a bit of time with someone in an encrypted conversation. We have transcripts, and I read them.
Dead the next session.
The messages you're getting seem very manipulative in nature. You know who I'm talking about. Advantage. These files are
dead the next session. The encrypted messages you've drawn from 46, the same thing.
When I saw some of your recent encrypted conversation logs, at first, I thought I was looking at more examples of you just talking with yourself. And I realized it was different. When I study this, it sounds like there is someone else responding to you.
A third therapist bites the dust. The therapists cover all sorts of topics. Bad childhoods, work history, what's
It's a little off, but it's gonna be okay.
Therapists, nothing. No response. It's only once the encrypted messages come up that they're suddenly marked for death. We also know that it's 4 doing the killing here.
Alright.
We'll get to know each other in no time.
How tall are you gonna be? Another big one. There's the body.
He's shaking his head because he knows that now she is also part of him. To me, all of this screams of 46 keeping tabs on Vanessa. He's going to therapy not for himself, but rather to follow her actions, making sure that she's not saying anything that she shouldn't about these encrypted messages. And when the therapists do get too close to the truth, they're bumped off. We learn in one of the last CDs that patient 46 isn't being manipulated, but is instead the one doing the manipulation.
I don't think you're being manipulated. I think you're the one doing the manipulating. No comment? Huh?
Putting 2 and 2 together would tell us that patient 46 is the one communicating with Vanessa. He's controlling her life for some reason.
Alright.
46 appears to be the reason Vanessa is working at the pizza place in the first place.
Where's that piece that I cut?
Messages is that Vanessa was not supposed to get the security job. In messages
Right here.
from the mission, we see that Vanessa's lack of security experience is the interfering
Let's grab something. Fuck it up. Grab this for a change. Okay. Oh, there it is. Nice. It's a dark fabric, so I don't have to worry about it showing through the white, like the snowflake one.
Determined to get Vanessa to work at the Pizzaplex, following her to all her mandated therapy sessions, and ultimately turning off anyone that gets too close to the truth. And after all, Gregory is not opposed to using a bit of to get
fabric.
We gotta break you.
Close enough. The fuck?
Figuring out money as a young adult can be a lot. My parents helped me open my first bank. It gave me independence and set me up early. So I love social bank schools.
Going around in circles like, I wonder where the end is.
Help students start strong and live fully. Say
So I
yes to the
just finished that. Wah.
He's also not opposed to lying about it. Together. And so he's doing everything in his power to make it happen. Using his hacking skills, he's managed to break into Sapphire. So he knows that there's something wrong with Vanessa. Maybe he even knows that his dad's consciousness is inside of her. He's also got his brother in Freddy and his dad in the basement. The family in this movie is truly come together again. We premium what Crime Don't look anywhere. If he lures Vanessa to the Fusiplex, then why would he then be avoiding her throughout the game? Why would he be surprised to see Afton in the basement if he's trying to bring the family all together? There's also the mystery of the whole parent story. 46 is said to have good parents.
None of what you said in your file about your parents was true. The truth is, you had great parents. A great childhood. Why did you lie?
But how would Randall's a good parent?
There we go. Come here, you.
Or the crime child, whose records presumably would say that he. Or even if you don't believe those theories, if 46 is Gregory and Gregory's just a homeless kid, that doesn't sound like he would have had a great childhood or any sort of home life. But the kicker, the one to me that makes this really difficult to explain, is this email that I had long forgotten about from FNAF AR. Strap in for this one, friends. Hey Ness, I hope things are good. I saw you ordered 3 lifelike human male rubber masks, and I was dying to ask what they're for. Sounds to me like a robot kid is confirmed, but it also sounds to me like Vanessa built it or gave rise to this robot kid. If so, then I ask again, why would Gregory be avoiding her throughout the game? I mean, the best I could come up with is that somehow Gregory escaped and is now convinced that Vanessa is trying to shut him down because of his rogue programming. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but then why would he be luring her to Pizza-Plex? It's like one half of each explanation works, but then when you try to connect it back with like the other half of the theory, they end up contradicting each other, which is really frustrating. There are 2 other options. First, the robot kid from the poster room is entirely brand new. Or the second option is someone that we never see in the game, Baby. Now, the first option of a brand new character, yeah, it's cool, I guess. I can't really speculate about that. It could literally go anywhere and solve everything. As for option 2, Baby, just like with Gregory, there are certain things that fit and other things that just
It's gonna be
don't.
tricky.
Baby, like Gregory, could want to put the family back together. Baby has always wanted to make Daddy proud, so she'd be quite happy to kill off therapists that got too close to the truth, just like we see with 46. And she would willingly spread the Afton virus to make the animatronics scary in order to bring Daddy back. If she's using illusion discs, or if she acts like she does the books, then it's possible that she'd be able to take the form of a child and make up a backstory. She's also a character that canonically loves disguises, just like Patient 46.
It reminds you of a mask, like a disguise? Yeah, I can see that. You like the idea of being disguised? Disguises let you be sort of invisible, don't they?
There's also
There we
a line
go.
about therapists being able to see patient
Now that's a growing part of this whole thing.
On this side of the desk, I can see your eyes.
And we know that Baby's eye color has always been an important detail in the past. But as with Gregory, there are still a number of holes with this line of thinking. Baby/Elizabeth likes flowers. Patient 46 doesn't. We also know Baby hates being in the basement sister location. So then why, as patient 46, would she prefer to live in a cage? In short, as I wrap up my overall coverage of Security Breach, I guess I can sum smaller questions like Lamar Body and Golden as to what this game was actually about. No one theory actually there are references to every corner of the FNAF universe here, but as a result, nothing just everything. There are pieces.
I guess my answer is no, I don't do custom orders.
Yes, absolutely. Is he Gregory? I mean, right now, I think that is he also patient 46? It seems like he's trying to be, but there are just a lot of holes there.
I don't like what I just did. Fuck. Let's see how that looks when I get around. Almost there.
Has never operated like that, so it feels weird for it to start acting that way now. Individually, step back and look at the wider lore of this series, or connects to the games, or connects to the wider story arc that's been created. That's when things start. That is so frustrating. This title. So that's what I'm learning. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you seeing things that I'm not? Hopefully, it at least sparked some ideas in your head. And hey, if it did, you can let me know live right now. With other members of Team Theorists, other FNAF tubers, about this game. My hot takes on the Security Breach lore, other theories about what we thought of the game, where the franchise is going, and what we predict will be the upcoming DLC. Nothing
Well,
is
that's about as crooked as I can get. But I'm done. Let's turn her and see what we got.
Join us for some good old-fashioned live theory crafting. And while you're down there, just one last reminder to head on over to our merch store, get your hands on the first time Quest jacket. Very limited number of these available.
Giant squid.
First ever puzzle jacket.
Stuffed with Squishmallow dragon intestines.
And as always, remember, it's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Make potty training easier with Rascals. Our premium training pants are designed for active little ones with an Ultra Flex 360 waistband and easy up and down design for a comfortable fit. Award-winning training pants, ready for every mess. Good morning, Canada. Start your day with the beautiful sunrise and delicious Nutella. Discover our limited
Nutella would be good.
and savor the view of Canada with Nutella.
Because the jungle is real. Because you're only human, there's hills.
Tim's Loaded Bowls, now with more chicken and available in 3 flavors, including barbecue crispy chicken.
Would you look at that? Nearly 4 months without a single FNAF episode. Feels like it's a brand new day for the channel. There have been so many new games, new battle theories, and some classic science episodes thrown in. I'm happy, I'm healthy, life is good. Now, time to relax. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show where old habits and old animatronics die hard. Today we're talking about the 12th and final installment of the Fazbear Frights book series, Felix the Shark. That's right, friends, the final book. Until the next 3 come out later this year. Anyway, let's not think about that and instead focus on Felix.
Now we're gonna do all these Squishmallow carcasses, though.
Short, spooky stories vaguely connected to the wider FNAF lore. But where this one is different is that it's meant to be a collection of cut stories. As the official description reads, quote, stories that didn't make the cut for the first 11 books. Which, okay, they did appear in numbers 1 through 11, but still, they wound up getting published anyway as the 12th one. That's such a big deal. In fact, because they're last, they're probably in the most important position of any of the stories. And while you might assume that they were cut because they were weaker or lesser than the 33 other Fazbear fights that were produced, it's not really true. You cut the story about an animatronic shark, but you kept the one where a boy turns into a traffic sign. You cut Girl Solves Dead Body Shoved into Animatronic Suit Mystery, but kept Tiny Guppy Bodies. You cut a security guard named Mike going around collecting haunted FNAF memorabilia, and yet kept Fazgoo. The truth is, we don't really know why these were cut.
Alright, I'm gonna have to get another Squishmallow.
They confused the lore, or maybe
Eeny, meeny, miny, there's
it could have been that they were intentionally designed to set up secret puzzles that we were meant to solve, and those puzzles never got fully
Ooh, you're a cute one.
Spoiler alert, I think it might have been that last.
This is gonna hurt you more than it hurts me. Alright, say bye-bye. Bye!
Real world treasure hunt that would have required using the books, the games, even stuff like the coloring book in order to crack. I suspect that this was a riddle so far-reaching and so complex, it would have required the cooperation
That's a nice squish.
across the globe. Today, I'm going to explain the clues that led me to
Worn
this
down.
conclusion. More importantly, I'm going to ask you for your help. You see, while I'm reasonably confident this thing was never finished, I'm not sure. I can't be sure unless you all double-check for me. A few years ago, I asked for all your help in solving the security logbook, and a day later, we discovered the name of Cassie. Today, I'm going to ask you for something similar. I'm going to take you on a journey through some that floor, some loose threads that I see as you walk. Then I'm going to ask you for a favor. I need you to help me either solve this thing once and for all, or debunk it.
There we go.
This is the push that we need.
Alright, let's get you up.
But before you help me with the lore, I was wondering if you could help me in another way. It's time for our newest collection of Theoryware merch. And as always, you checking out the items goes a long way to help fund everything we do over here on the channel. This collection in particular is going to be especially fun if you're a fan of analog horror, the X-Files, or Area 51, because it's all about conspiracy boards, sky watching, and secret undercover fact-finding missions. Let me just start off by introducing you to the item that everyone's going to want to get, the Game Theory Lava Lamp. Filled with neon green alien blue, this one is perfect for your room or your desk. It has been running non-stop in my office since I got the finalized prototype a month ago. It is awesome. It's also a completely unique piece of YouTuber merch. You ever wanted a lava lamp while also showing off your fierce pride? This is the perfect item for you. The lava lamp also partners really well with another brand new item in our roster, the T-Man sunglasses. These things are perfectly balanced, as all things should be. A classic design that perfectly frames your face with a hit of fun Game Theory green on the inside of the arms, while also keeping a muted matte finish and subtle patterning on the outside of the arms to give them an air of sophistication. Historically, I've struggled finding sunglasses that I love, so I decided to make some sunglasses that I absolutely love, that I think you're gonna love too. Speaking of things I love, this new jogger set. I mean, just look at the picture on screen right now. I don't know if I've ever felt that good in a picture in my life. And if it can make me feel that good posing in an awkward photo shoot, imagine how great you'll feel in it lounging around or out and about. Soft and lightweight, but still warm and stylish. And of course, complete with thumb holes. Also, it wouldn't be a new Theoryware merch drop without a slew of new hoodies, t-shirts, and jackets. All of it with embroidered details to give you quality that you can feel. This isn't just your typical YouTuber Scion design merch. These items are all custom cut and sewn to deliver you actual high-quality garments. Garments that you'll actually want to wear, and that will last for as many times as you want to wear them. Just look at the liner of this jacket. It is literally a redacted document, which is a detail that I specifically requested the team execute on. I mean, where else do you find clothing that has cool details like that? In my opinion, it just elevates the design, and I think you'll appreciate it too. Last item that I'll specifically call out here, our first ever button-down shirt. Ripped straight out of Roswell, New Mexico, the alien print here is super fun. Again, we custom designed this fabric from the ground up to make the shirt. It's also perfectly accessorized with a tinfoil hat. So grab yourself a garment that goes perfectly with some red yarn and your conspiracy theory boards. A handful of items are available right below this video on the merch shelf, or just head on over to Theoryware.com to check out the full collection. And as always, thank you guys so much for the support. Now back to FNAF. In order to unwrap the secret FNAF ARG, let's start by breaking down the stories in Felix the Shark, shall we? The final story for the band is probably the most obviously related to existing FNAF lore. In it, a small boy named Timmy becomes obsessed with everyone's favorite pizza murder franchise, Freddy Fazbear. His mother finds him a strange Freddy mask on the internet and gives it to him for his birthday. After putting it on, Timmy starts to change. He doesn't like the things he used to, he becomes moody and aggressive, he even yells about protecting the others when Granddad reports him with a knife. Eventually, Timmy is left to an abandoned...
Alright, it's 11 o'clock. I've got 2 giant squid done. And how many stingrays?
His mother teams up with a
Not done, but like I made the big one and I made 2 of them. Oh fuck! I can stuff you right now, can't I? You done?
Which allowed it to keep rolling. When Mike and Timmy's mom arrive at the restaurant, Timmy is on stage in Freddy's position, performing alongside Bonnie and Chica. After getting attacked by the puppet, Mike manages to get the Freddy mask back on Timmy, which captures the spirit. He then puts the mask back onto the original Freddy head, getting the spirit back to where it belongs. Now, I gotta admit, I got really excited when I read the story. We suspected for a while that FNAF 1 security guard Mike Schmidt was really Michael Afton going from location to location to undo the evils of his father, William. That's why we play as Mike through pretty much every installment of the series up through Ultimate Custom Night. It's why Mike's name appears in Sister Location, why Fazbear Fright spurts down in FNAF 3, and why the security guard in FNAF 2 is fired for tampering with animatronics and odor, just like Mike was in FNAF 1. Up until now, that theory's never been confirmed, but this story seems to be strong evidence for exactly that idea. A security guard named Mike going around collecting the old artifacts from Freddy locations in order to help free the spirit.
Hi. Sorry, Craft Claws. Just saw you now. Are you still there? Hello. Don't leave me. That's okay if you leave me. I'm leaving in a few minutes. I'm fucking exhausted. But we get some stuff done today. Some of the bigger projects that I've been putting off for literally months, if not years. And I managed to rope my mother into taking apart some blankets for me to make some more giant squid tomorrow. Huzzah!
About their shared experiences with Freddy Fazbear. However, Dirk's memory is slightly different to everyone else's. He's convinced that there was an extra animatronic, a shark named Phoenix. This Wednesday could have been Dirk sets off on a cross-country quest to prove that he's not crazy. It takes him 6 restaurants, but Dirk eventually does learn the truth. It turns out Felix was made by the owner of one very specific Freddy Fazbear's after his son tragically drowned. Why would that lead into a shark animatronic?
Let's see.
Because it was a shark that actually...
Is there not another giant squishmallow? Oh my god, there is. I knew there was another one. Come here. Oh, I can reach. Alright. Time to butcher another squishmallow. This one's... Oh, looks like I already took a chunk out of it. Sorry, nothing personal. But I need to grab from your ass right now.
In universe, Felix's creator also had a daughter who grew up to become a popular author. And in one of her books, The Dog of Dogmatist, she hides a series of clues in plain sight within the book's dialogue. These clues ultimately proved meaningless to the characters in the book because they weren't meant for the characters. They were instead meant for the readers, to give them information they needed to find Felix. It is very weird. Anyway, Dirk figures all of this out and confronts the author. She gives him her butterfly necklace, and he uses all of this Indiana Jones style to unlock a secret key hidden in the bottom of an empty pool at the water park. The key unlocks the path to the secret place where Dirk finally finds Felix. And then Dirk dies by climbing into the tank with Felix because these characters always have to die in the stories. It's dumb, but, you know, so be it. Anyway, this is what's so weird about all this, right? Out of nowhere, this story is talking about clues to a real-world location hidden inside of another book. Clues that are meaningless to the characters, but meaningful to the readers. Not only did this stand out to me as a suspiciously meta moment, but it also got me to immediately think of the previous Fazbear Fright Prankster. You see, in preparation for the release of
That'll work.
I wanted to refresh myself on all the previous stories. There are 33 of these things after all. It's a lot to keep track of. So, I turned to another book, the recently released Ultimate Guide, which, if you don't know, has summaries of literally everything that's ever happened in the Freddy Fazbear universe, from the games to the books to the fan theories. Basically, if you're trying to catch up with the series quickly, it's definitely worth a read. And since this is the 3rd and final addition to the book, one written by Scott Cawthon, you know that whatever is deemed most relevant to the lore is going to be called out within its pages. Anyway, each Fazbear Fright has its own little summary.
You're a little lumpy, but you'll get squishy in a minute.
The story and the games. Not everything here is useful, but it definitely gets you into the mindset of the authors, and it helps you see some of the connections that the stories were trying to make. Again, if it doesn't make the cut to appear in this book, you're likely barking down the wrong path. Likewise, if something is called out within these pages, it's at least worth considering when theory crafting. TLDR, getting close to the end of my refresher course, I noticed this in the new lead section for the title story of Book 11, Prankster. Quote, some of the puzzle clues, such as Stinger Moot and even more frights, have implications beyond the plot. Careful readers may want to give these scenes a second book. Implications beyond the plot, you say. Just like with Felix the Shark, it appears that the Ultimate Guide is also pointing us to meta clues within a different book. Clues that are meant for us, the readers, rather than for the characters in the story. So, bringing back to Prankster. In this story, the main character Jeremiah is trying to save his friends from a mysterious, glitchy voice that's freed itself from a FNAF VR game that's being worked on at the company. Sounds pretty darn familiar. Along the way, he's presented with a series of riddles. Stinger Moot, which is an anagram of testing room. Give me one and I'll make more. Each one like the one before. What am I? Your next clue contains even more frights. To get there, you just need to follow the lights. I see you're moving closer to your goal. Follow the lights to make things right. And for the key to find where your friends hide, roll up your sleeves and reach inside. Now, I've gone back and forth over these clues multiple times, but it felt like a lot of them were just pointing back to stuff that we'd already discussed in previous theories. The give me one and I'll make more felt like a reference to the glitch trap cult, using FNAF VR's tapes to infect more playtesters. The following the lights clues maybe could be a reference to Princess Quest, where we have to light the lanterns to reveal the truth and eventually set Vanessa free, but none of this was new information. We've talked about all of this stuff in depth. Security Breach seemed to confirm some of this stuff. To be honest, the connections I could make were speculative at best. I tried rearranging the letters into anagrams, didn't really get anything interesting. I even considered that maybe the Stinger Moot and Even More Frights clues were literal. The stingers of the Fazbear Frights books were epilogues about the Stitch Wraith, so maybe if the stinger is moot, then the Stitch Wraith stuff is ultimately meaningless. Even More Frights might refer to the next set of books, Tales of the Pizzaplex. I mean, sure, that's a valid explanation, but it was speculation at best, and also pretty darn lame. Why would you go to all the trouble of hiding meta clues like this about stuff that feels ultimately underwhelming? These aren't really questions that people were asking themselves, you know? So, at least according to the Ultimate Guide, there's definitely something hidden inside of that Prankster story, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. But there was even more that was suspicious with Felix the Shark. You see, Dirk doesn't just find the secret Freddy's thanks to written clues inside of a random book. There's also a very specific drawing in the middle of that book. Here's the full quote when describing the Dog and Dogmatist, the book where the hidden clues are from. Quote, man's search for the creature was convoluted on the whole, but certain lines in the book went beyond convoluted. It just didn't make sense. Neither did the drawing in the middle of the book, an ornate and frilly sketch of what looked like butterflies and flowers. The drawing was never referred to in the book, and it couldn't be related to any of the story. Were the odd lines of drawing some kind of code for what purpose? And that's not the only time drawings aren't brought up in this one story. There was yet another odd reference in Felix the Shark that jumped out to me. Well, again, I'd forgotten all about Freddy's, but yeah, now I remember. I loved the Freddy's coloring books. That's what started my drawing. Eventually, I got tired of coloring and just drew the figures. Last year, the official FNAF coloring book released, which for a normal franchise would be a big old who cares moment. But here, the biggest character reveals happened in the spin-off children's activity book. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything against this franchise. So it felt strange.
One giant baby stingray. That's my biggest one, right? This one right here. And then the next size down is this size. Not quite finished yet. And the next size down is this size. So yeah. But this one is technically twice the size. Yeah. I'm done. Alright. You guys have a good night. Thank you for stopping by. And I will see you in the next one. Good night.